A profound insight, passed down through quiet observation, tells of a unique moment of perception, a state where one consciousness can follow another as it departs from the body, witnessing the journey's very first steps. This shared understanding, drawn from over 1,000 accounts of deep inner journeys, gives us a glimpse into life's most sacred transition. Before we explore these transformative insights together, I invite you to join this community dedicated to growth and awareness. The path ahead explores consciousness, the great continuity of life, and your own incredible journey. Have you ever sat in stillness and truly contemplated what unfolds in the moment the heart finds its final rest? From a space of profound awareness, a detailed picture emerges of those initial, precious moments after physical life, and the understanding it brings can shift your perspective entirely. In the coming moments, I will share 3 fundamental insights from these collective observations. First, the powerful moment of awakening your awareness undergoes. Second, the fundamental choice you face that shapes your path forward. And third, the beautiful connection to your present life that few are aware of. But this isn't just theory. This understanding comes from direct observation of consciousness as it journeys from one state to another. It documented in countless narratives of transition. One shared story contains one of the most complete accounts of a spirit's first moments of passage. According to this deep wisdom, the very first event that occurs as your spirit separates from its physical form is a great expansion of awareness. One timeless account describes how an individual experiences an immediate broadening of their consciousness, which felt, in their own words, like stepping out into the sunlight after a lifetime in a dimly lit room. But there is something even more profound within these first few seconds. It is understood that your spirit does not simply wander into an unknown space. Instead, a remarkable process unfolds. In those critical opening moments, your spirit enters a state of holistic reflection. This is not a story, but a fundamental law of consciousness. Your awareness literally reviews the entirety of your earthly existence in an instant, but in a way that is far deeper than mere memory. And here is where the insight becomes truly transformative. During this swift life reflection, your spirit does not just passively watch what you have done. It feels what you have done from the viewpoint of every person you ever connected with. Every gentle word you offered, every moment of support you gave, every pulse of love or fear you sent into the world. Your spirit embraces it all, from every side. Imagine for a moment a person of great influence from a past era. When their transition began, their spirit did not see their own accomplishments. Instead, they relived their life through the feelings of their employees, their family, and even those they passed on the street. This deep empathy is the spirit's first teacher. But this raises a pivotal question that will guide your entire journey beyond. What unfolds next in that first minute depends entirely on something we often neglect during our lifetime. A profound teaching tells us that following this reflection, your spirit is met with a fundamental choice. This has nothing to do with judgment from an outside force. It is your own awareness, recognizing its journey and what it needs to continue its path. And what these accounts observe next is truly inspiring. Your spirit, now fully conscious of its patterns and progress, is free to select its next stage of being. But here is the part that many find surprising. This ancient wisdom shows that some spirits choose to stay close to the earth to support those they love, while others move directly toward more expansive dimensions of learning. One account speaks of a mother who, after passing, chose to remain in a supportive space to guide her children through a hard season. Her first moments included not just her life reflection, but an immediate sense of her family's needs, and the choice to delay her own progress to serve as their unseen guide. This understanding changes how we perceive the connection between worlds. But wait, there is an even more direct link between this passage and your life now. According to these teachings, your spirit's experience in that first minute is shaped directly by the clarity you cultivate in this physical life. It is consistently taught that souls who develop inner awareness through contemplation, presence, and acts of service find what is called a smooth passage. Those who live purely for the material world, however, can face a sense of disorientation. Consider the account of a soul who practiced daily meditation while on earth. Their transition was described as being like a river flowing smoothly into the vast, open ocean. That spirit immediately understood its new state and moved ahead with clarity and purpose. Here is how these insights become practical and life-altering for you in this moment. We can actively prepare our awareness for this passage while we are still here. The spiritual calm you foster today directly shapes your experience in those vital first moments. These teachings reveal that souls who regularly connected with the universal life force through prayer and stillness found immediate recognition and peace. Those who gave of themselves selflessly discovered they were surrounded by gentle, guiding presences during their transition. But those who lived held by fear or attachment experienced a period of being adrift and disoriented. There is a story from many years ago about a resident of a quiet coastal town who studied these principles and prepared for years. When this person passed, their transition was observed as so fluid and conscious that their awareness could immediately send a feeling of reassurance to their grieving family. Now, consider a powerful truth about your spirit's capacity in those initial moments after parting. Deep wisdom reveals that newly transitioned souls keep all their earthly memories and character, but with a widened perspective that lets them see the purpose within every experience they had. This leads to a question that could change your view of everything. If your spirit carries with it all that you've learned and become, and if those first moments guide what comes next, what are you doing now to prepare for this natural journey? It is taught that the souls who have the most beautiful transition experiences are those who learned to let go of attachment to things while still deeply appreciating their earthly life. They cultivated what is called spiritual presence, not an indifference to life, but a deep knowing of its temporary nature and their spirit's unending journey. This is where these teachings become incredibly helpful for your daily life. Every choice you make, every thought you nurture, and every action you perform is building the inner foundation that will support your spirit's passage. One of the most remarkable stories involves a respected man of science who was at first doubtful of these spiritual ideas. After a personal event that brought him close to death, he began to explore this wisdom. The insights he found about the spirit's brief journey mirrored his own experience exactly, including details he had told no one. It was explained that his spirit had felt those first moments as a brilliant dawn, where all his worldly knowledge found its place within a greater spiritual reality. His lifetime spent healing others had woven a pathway of light that guided his own spirit's journey. And yet, there's an even more beautiful truth about what happens to your consciousness in that first minute. It is said that your spirit does not lose its uniqueness or its personality. Instead, it gains a cosmic awareness while holding on to everything that makes you who you are. A timeless account tells of a soul who, after passing, kept their sense of humor, their love for family, and their deepest interests, but now saw how these earthly qualities were part of their soul's eternal growth. You do not become someone else after this life. You become more truly yourself than ever before. This understanding has deep meaning for how you live right now. If your unique consciousness continues, then every facet of who you are becoming in this life matters for eternity. Your compassion, your wisdom, your capacity to love, all of these continue and expand beyond the physical. The teachings consistently show that spirits who lived with awareness and purpose experience those first 60 seconds as a joyful return. They recognize the spiritual dimension as their true origin and see their earthly life as a precious lesson that prepared them for greater service. But here is what gives these insights even greater resonance. Many people who explored these spiritual principles during their lives later reported experiences that perfectly aligned with what the teachings suggested. about the soul's journey. Stories have been documented for generations where these spiritual insights proved to be true. One particularly touching narrative is of a young mother facing a serious illness. She was taught that her spirit's passage would be gentle because of her deep love for her children and her inner spiritual practice. When she departed months later, her family said her last moments were filled with a visible sense of peace and welcome, just as the wisdom had described. Now, here is the most incredible aspect of what is understood about those first 60 seconds. Your spirit's journey is not only about your own path. It is said that souls who pass with awareness immediately join in what can be called the great work of spiritual evolution. They help other souls, both here and in other dimensions. This means that your spiritual growth in this lifetime is not just for your own benefit. It is preparation to serve in ways you cannot yet imagine. The love you build, the wisdom you find, the inner clarity you cultivate, all of this becomes part of your soul's ability to help others on their own eternal paths. Ancient wisdom teaches that souls who lived lives of service often choose to become spiritual guides for those still in physical form. The grandmother who always had the right words, the friend who always seemed to appear right when you needed them. According to these teachings, they might be spirits who chose to use their journey to continue serving. And this raises a profound question about your own relationships and your purpose. If consciousness continues and souls can choose to help those still living, how might this change how you see the moments of guidance and synchronicity in your life? It is explained that souls who have transitioned peacefully often create what we might call spiritual opportunities for those they love. They cannot interfere with our choices, but they can arrange circumstances that encourage growth and awakening. One account tells of a man whose father had studied these very principles. After his father's passing, the son experienced a stream of coincidences that led him to find the same teachings, transforming his life. A deeper inquiry suggested his father's spirit was indeed creating opportunities for his son's awakening. Here is what this means for you in your life at this very moment. According to this timeless wisdom, you are surrounded by loving, spiritual support from souls who have made their passage with awareness. Those flashes of inspiration, those sudden insights, those moments of perfect timing that feel too significant to be chance. These could be signs of spirits who felt their first minute after death as an awakening to their new capacity to serve. But the most transformative part of this understanding is what it teaches us about life. If the first 60 seconds after we pass are shaped by the spiritual clarity we cultivate here, then every day is a chance to create a more conscious and peaceful transition. It is taught that the souls with the most beautiful passages were those who learned to live with an attitude of spiritual readiness. They lived each day knowing they were eternal beings on a temporary human journey, and this view filled their lives with deep meaning. It is said a soul who lived with this awareness experienced their first moments after death like a gentle awakening from a dream into a more brilliant reality. There was no fear, only recognition and gratitude for both the earthly journey and the expanded awareness that came next. This is the gift this ancient wisdom offers you today. You do not have to wait for life's end to begin feeling a greater connection. The same practices that prepare your spirit for a conscious transition also heighten your awareness and joy in this life. It is taught that souls who meditated during their time on earth found that the practice had carved channels of light to guide their passage. Stillness developed their connection to divine guidance. Serving others built an inner strength that carried them through all challenges. But the most powerful discovery from these thousands of shared experiences is this: those first 60 seconds are not an end. They are a commencement where your spirit celebrates all it has learned and looks toward ever greater opportunities for growth and service. One final story illustrates this truth perfectly. A man who had followed these teachings for decades was nearing his own time of transition. His loved ones wondered what to expect. The wisdom shared was that this soul's journey would be like a student who, having finished their studies with honor, was excited to begin the next level of learning. When the man passed peacefully some weeks later, his last words were said to be about a beautiful light and the feeling of wonderful teachers waiting to welcome him. His experience was a perfect reflection of what the teachings describe for those who approach their journey with spiritual readiness and conscious awareness. This leads us to the most vital question of all. Now that you have heard these insights about those crucial first moments, how will you use this understanding to live with more awareness and purpose, starting now? Remember, every moment of kindness you share, every silent moment of gratitude, every act of service you perform, every step you take toward deeper understanding, all of it is preparing your spirit for the most important journey you will ever make. You are not just living for today. You are building the spiritual foundation that will support your eternal path. If this perspective has brought some clarity to your mind and peace to your heart, please share it with others who may be seeking this message. Like this video to help these ideas reach more people, and subscribe to continue this journey with us, as there is so much more to discover about life, consciousness, and the unending journey of the spirit. Your soul's greatest adventure is always ahead of you, and now you know how to prepare for it. The first 60 seconds could be the most beautiful moment of your entire existence. And it all begins with the choices you make right now.